Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Jack Remington of Quintessence Productions, LLC. Today's topic, 30-day aftermath of the former First Lady, the late, great Mrs. Barbara Pierce Bush, who passed at the age of 92, 30 days ago, April 17th. The office of her husband, George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President of the United States, issued the very first media response to her passing. That was at 4:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Less than an hour had passed before a Fresno State English professor by the name of Randa Jarrar tweeted some of the most disrespectful, divisive, inappropriate, insensitive, insolent, low-class, offensive, profane, and revolting tweets I have ever seen in my life, disparaging the defenseless, deceased former First Lady who could not defend herself. Her family can't defend her honor because they're public figures, so to speak, but I can defend her, and I will defend her. She was an American patriot. She never got paid one dime for her 45 years of public service as the wife of the ambassador of China, the wife of the former director of the CIA, the wife of the vice president for 2 terms under the late, great Ronald Reagan, and her years as first mother for 8 years under her son, George Walker Bush. This is not about First Amendment rights. This video is not to attack Randa Jarrar's ability to use her First Amendment speech. The question should have been, and still is in many people's minds, that she abused the system by directing people to call the Arizona State University Crisis Hotline. So, in my opinion, she crossed the line by doing that as well, which is a fireable offense. She's hiding behind a well-known practice in this country for 200 years that as a tenured teacher / professor, whatever you want to call her, they get tenure and they cannot be fired. Well, I also disagree with that. They can be fired. The all-around blanket clause that they use for 200 years in this country and other countries, Great Britain, Germany, called moral turpitude. Okay, and moral turpitude covers a lot of ground. Long story short, they can get rid of this Randa Jarrar. Okay, so we're going to talk about her first. She's 40 years old. She was born in Chicago, Illinois. She has listed her languages English and Arabic. She's got her nationality listed as American. Her alma mater is Sarah Lawrence College and University of Texas and University of Michigan, where she got a master's degree. But she was born in Chicago to a Greek-Egyptian mother and a Palestinian father. She grew up in Kuwait and Egypt, even though she was born in Chicago. After the Gulf War in 1991, she and her family returned to the United States, living in the New York area. Now, she would be approximately 13 years old when she came back to the United States. Fresno State's a minority school, as she has also described. Many of my undergrads are brown, Latinos, Asian Americans, Muslim Americans. They're first-generation college students, or they're children of migrant workers, or they work full-time and parent. She's gotten in trouble before. She wrote an opinion piece called, I quote, "Why I Can't Stand White Belly Dancers," end quote, published in Salon in 2014. In this piece, Jarrar says she felt that white women who take part in the art of belly dance were engaging in cultural appropriation and brownface. She was widely criticized for that, but a UCLA law professor, Eugene Volokh, stated, quote, "Maybe telling people that they can't work in some field because they have the wrong color or ancestry would be ellipses, rats, I don't know what to call it. If only there were an adjective that could be used to mean telling people that they must do something because of their race or ethnic origin," end quote. Now we're going to talk about the Barbara Bush comments. A disclaimer here at Quintessence Productions LLC, we don't use profane curse words online. Here is that tweet that started a Twitter storm 30 days ago. Barbara Bush was a generous and smart and amazing racist who, along with her husband, raised a war criminal. Blank out of here with your nice words. Then she tries to remove the tweet, make it private. Someone took the screenshot and retweeted it, and that's when the Twitter storm really took off. But she doubles down. Instead of apologizing, I can't be fired because I'm a tenured professor at Fresno State, because there was still some maneuvering by Mr. Castro, the president of Fresno State, about what to do about the situation. Now, mind you, Fresno State's in a no-win situation. Okay, if they fire this professor for her offensive, vile, disgusting tweets, they will create an innocent martyr. And she would, oh, poor me, oh, I'm a victim. And that plays very well with certain people in this country. Now let's talk about Mr. Castro. Mr. Castro huffed and puffed and looked like he was going to do something. And I'm going to play you the clip of the upset Fresno State graduate who is in fear for not being able to get work because of this and what Fresno State's going to be known for. So I'm going to play the clip.
I can tell you that of the hundreds of people that showed up, some were voicing their opposition for the school's decision, some were supporting it, but all were in agreement that this is more complex than just a free speech issue.
Emotions ran high as hundreds of students, faculty, and staff gathered to discuss the recent controversy surrounding Fresno State.
I'm now afraid to graduate in December and to walk out into the world with a degree from Fresno State, because all people are going to see is that woman.
Bailey Cook worries her hard work as an ag student will be overshadowed by a professor's tweets.
I think they were crass, and I think that if she wanted to make those statements, there was probably a more polite and respectful way to go about it.
1 week after announcing English professor Randa Jarrar will face no punishment after tweeting Barbara Bush was, quote, an amazing racist who raised a war criminal, University President Joseph Castro addressed concerns.
The comments were disgraceful, and I think I was clear in my statement about that. But there are legal matters that we had to consider.
Philosophy student Marika Kuipers feels Professor Jarrar is being unfairly criticized.
And yes, our speech does have consequences, but that's the beauty of it. It can inspire change, but it can also be met with opposition and be learned from.
After acknowledging the tens of thousands of calls that came into the school, President Castro led the forum to discuss what they've learned from the situation and what they hope to do going forward.
Where there's going to be a call for ways in which we ought to treat each other.
The university president hopes to draft a best practices policy in addition to bringing back free speech forums so the campus has a better understanding of the First Amendment. Jarrar is expected to be back on campus for the fall semester.
But she's still there and she's off for a semester. She also canceled her speech at some kind of event that I'll put the screenshot on. Now she's saying she's fearing for her safety. Well, you know, when you say fighting words and inflammatory comments and tweets and you disrespect someone of the stature of the First Lady, Mrs. Barbara Bush, or any First Lady in the United States of America, you get what you're asking for. And you know what? Words do count, don't they? Words do have consequences. All of a sudden, when it's on the other foot, oh, we got to protect this person. It's cosmic, ironic justice from the heavens above, or the hell below, that the Berkeley professors are taking up for this Randa Jarrar, saying that the Fresno State must stand up for her First Amendment rights. But where does that really cross the line? But that's not really the question. Let's forget, like I said at the beginning of the video, everybody's arguing about the First Amendment. Can she say it or can she not say it? She works for Fresno State. She represents Fresno State. She should have been terminated on the second, on the spot, as soon as the alumni or in the regents of the Fresno State found that out. But no, oh, we can't fire her. Oh, she's Arabic, you know. We're trying to get the Muslim vote. We're trying to get the Hispanic vote. We're trying to get their support. You're not going to get their support. Stop it. You're never going to get their support. Never. Why these people from these certain kind of countries that Donald Trump called them keep wanting to come here, I know not. When they come here, then they complain. That's a different video for a different time. But Mrs. Barbara Bush was great. She stopped dyeing her hair when she was 39. She stopped wearing girdles. She started putting on some weight. She didn't care. She was blunt. She was very courteous, though, and she was respectful. And all these people coming out bad-mouthing her now, for shame. The family's grieving. The family lost her matriarch, okay? And she was a mother and a grandmother and great-grandmother to a family. She was as American as you could possibly get. And to call her an amazing racist, based on what? The only thing I could find was a taken out of context quote, as usual in this country these days, by the left, that during Katrina, she said, well, these people were underprivileged and needed a place, and so this Superdome in New Orleans was a good place to stay for a few days. Well, she wasn't talking about brown people, black people, Arabic people. There was white people too. There was a few American Indian people. There was Asian people. She didn't mean anything bad by, well, these people. It's people that couldn't afford luxury housing that's got the 20-foot stilts away from the water. So she meant nothing. No, she meant no malice, no harm by that. And I stand by this comment. This is my editorial video, and I'm standing by everything I'm saying. By the way, was the only first lady by many polls that she was more popular than the president was. And she made him eat his broccoli. Mrs. Barbara Bush was a great first lady. I thought she was fantastic. She was seen all over Washington, D.C. when she was living there, and she helped with literacy programs. She sponsored a lot of things. She went to many functions. She smiled. She shook hands. She was always nice to people. I want to close by saying that Mrs. Barbara Bush was great, and I'm defending her. I don't care who doesn't like it. I'm hoping that most Americans understand what I'm doing here, and leave your comments below. As long as they're not too profane, I'll leave them up there. If you like what you see, like what you hear, please subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day. It's always a great day to be an American. Thank you. She needs to use it.